The film begins in 2148, with astronaut Milutin discussing his recent mission to Mars and his overall condition with his commander. The commander then reveals a new mission to Alpha Centauri, stating that Milutin will need a partner for this journey. Despite his preference for working alone, Milutin is informed that his new partner will be a cyborg named Nemani. With no other option, Milutin agrees to the mission and accepts Nemani as his partner. In the next scene, Milutin is shown with Nemani, who is still unconscious, on the ship heading towards Alpha Centauri. He initiates the ship for liftoff, and soon they fly off into space, heading towards their destination. As time passes, it's now day 19. Milutin, initially hesitant to activate Nemani, decides to wake her up for some intimate time to satisfy his desires. They then start holding hands. Nemani starts asking Milutin about the other women in his life before. He tells her that his past lovers had always hurt him, causing him to lose trust in real women. On day 41, Milutin commands Nemani to dance for him. He tries to kiss her, but she rejects him due to her new settings. However, Milutin doesn't care and decides to take advantage of her. After he is done, he leaves her alone, crying. Later, Nemani can be seen charging while Milutin creepily stares at her, waiting for her to be at max battery again. Soon, 298 days have passed, and Nemani's readings show that Milutin has been using her mainly for intimate pleasure and not for proper work. Milutin's commander calls him to check on his status. He tells her that the ship is working fine and is still on its way to Alpha Centauri. The commander then asks him to change Nemani's mode to service mode instead of a relationship so Nemani can help him work on the ship. However, he doesn't obey her. So the commander asks his cyborg to give an analysis of Milutin. She replies that he uses her mainly for his desires and is not carrying out his mission well. Milutin is shocked to realize that the cyborg is supervising and informing his bosses about his status. After the call with his commander ends, Milutin asks his ship if he can delete Nemani's information of him, but the ship doesn't allow him to as it requires a higher security clearance. Despite this, Milutin keeps Nemani in relationship mode and still doesn't listen to his commander about switching Nemani's mode to service. One day, while Milutin is repairing the ship, Nemani's argument mode suddenly activates, and she starts picking a fight with him. Milutin is shocked and changes her mode immediately. Curious about Nemani's nature, when Nemani is charging, Milutin goes to ask his ship if he can reboot her, but the ship tells him that Nemani will use the experiences she had with him to shape her reboot, potentially making her more human rather than a robot. Milutin then realizes he can make Nemani into his dream partner and starts doing a manual check on her. However, as he does so, the air pressure in the ship suddenly drops, causing the ship to go into turbulence. This causes Nemani to fall to the ground, but Milutin quickly adjusts the air pressure and stabilizes the ship. In the next scene, Milutin goes to talk to his ship again. He asks how he can have a higher security clearance to access Nemani's full software. The ship tells him that only in special emergency situations, he is allowed to have access. This intrigues him, and he heads to the control room, where he starts destroying the ship in hopes of being granted special access to Nemani. Soon, the ship starts going into major turbulence and starts going off course from its destination. With no choice, the ship grants him access to everything, including Nemani. After stabilizing the ship, he immediately heads to Nemani and starts deleting her software and information on him. He then reboots her, and not long after, Nemani wakes up. However, with no software in her, she starts having emotions and scolds Milutin for deleting her software and tells him that she is not free at all, like how he wants. She then adds that removing her software doesn't mean she isn't a property of the establishment anymore and that she still has to complete their mission. She then leaves, leaving Milutin disappointed. Milutin then tries to amend their relationship by confessing his feelings for her. But Nemani tells him that his emotions are affecting their mission and tells him that she will no longer give him intimacy. But Maluten tries to kiss her, but Nemani, who now has full control over herself, kicks him, and he falls to the ground. In the following days, Nemani and Maluten get into a fight where she asks him to exercise more as his physical health is crucial for the success of the mission. But Maluten gets mad as he thinks she is punishing him for taking advantage of her before, and now that she is set free, she is taking revenge on him. He then leaves. The next day, Maluten goes on a call with his commander. He tells her that the ship's damage is caused by him and that he had removed Nemani's software. This shocks his commander, but Maluten tells her that he had saved her from them and she is now free. Fearing for the worst, his commander calls Nemani over and speaks with her. She asks the robot for an analysis report, and Nemani tells her that the mission is still going according to plan, which relieves the commander. In the following days, Maluten can be seen depressed without Nemani's love as he gets into more fights with her. This makes Nemani worried as she fears their mission might fail because of how depressed Maluten is. So while he is sleeping, she goes to do a health test on Maluten and confirms that he is indeed depressed. So later, she goes to talk to him. Maluten asks her why she is hurting him, but she responds by saying that she didn't mean to hurt him and apologizes for not being the dream woman he wanted. Unable to cure him, Nemani goes to the ship and asks how to cure Maluten. The ship tells her that the only way to do so is to remove the source of his pain. Nemani realizes it's her causing the pain, so she starts thinking of a way to self-destruct herself. She then goes into her charging pod, but Maluten sees this and tells her that her next charge isn't due for a month. But she doesn't reply to him and sheds a tear at him. Maluten, who is still heartbroken, doesn't ask further and leaves instead. Nemani then starts floating in the pod and ends up getting a power shortage. This causes the ship to black out, so Maluten quickly rushes to turn the ship's power back on. After the ship restores back, he asks it if Nemani is alright, but the ship tells him that the battery core in her is damaged and there is no way to recharge or save her as the charging pod is destroyed. So Maluten comes up with a plan to plug Nemani directly into the ship's battery core, which is outside the ship. The ship warns him that just 10 minutes outside will kill him, but Maluten doesn't listen to the ship and cuts Nemani open and removes her battery. He then puts on a spacesuit and heads outside. As he does, he asks the ship how much time Nemani's got before she passes away completely. The ship tells him 15 minutes, so he quickly makes his way to the ship's core. He places Nemani's battery in the core and lets it charge, but as it does, the radiation of the sun increases and overheats Maluten's suit, causing him to faint. He then ends up drifting in space, but fortunately, he manages to wake up. With only 3 minutes left, he takes the battery and rushes back into the ship and manages to put back her battery just in time, but due to his injuries from the radiation, he faints before Nemani can wake up. Soon, Nemani wakes up and finds Maluten unconscious. The movie ends with Maluten in the arms of Nemani, where Nemani kisses him passionately, waiting for him to wake up. Please like, share, and subscribe for more. Thank you.